guys can get 500 likes on this video, 500, okay? These are big numbers. I will do a fly time video. 4. I don't know if I want to give away too many of my secrets here, but 2 flies? I don't know. Tell you what, 500 likes and I will do 2 fly time videos. And the 2 flies that I will tie are the flies that you guys request the most in the comments down below. Okay? It's up to you guys. 500 likes, 2 tying videos. Okay. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Dan here, and today we are going to get into some detail with Great Lakes rainbow trout spey fishing. I uploaded a video on spey fishing for these trout last fall, and if you guys gave the video 200 thumbs up, I would upload a video on some of the trade secrets that I've learned over the years of swinging for these rainbow trout. So you guys did it, which was a surprise to me. I don't think I've ever even got 200 likes on a video, so here it is. I'm gonna give away some of my secrets and let you guys in on some of the nuances of swinging for these Great Lakes rainbow trout. I'm going to keep it as general as possible, and this should be enough for you guys to get yourself off the ground and into some fish on the swing. So let's get into it. I've got a lot to unpack here, so let's do it. All right, so we're gonna make our way around this table in a counterclockwise manner, and starting with our fishing rods. My 2 rods that I personally enjoy fishing the most, I have a 10'6" switch rod, which has been a great stick for me to swing smaller tributaries. And then when we get to our larger tributaries and our larger systems that allot for, you know, bigger heads and longer casts, I've got a 13-foot 7-weight spey. My suggestion, if you're going to slide into some fresh sticks, I would go at 11-foot or 10'6", anywhere in that range. In a 7-weight, don't need 8-weight. It's just you don't need it. And then for your full spey, a 12-foot 7-weight. You could probably even play with a 6-weight because of that extra length. You really don't need the extra oomph. Going into the next department, probably my favorite part of all of this, you know, swinging flies. I've grown a great appreciation for being that guy that has a reel that makes an obnoxious amount of noise and is honestly really inconvenient to use because they don't have drags. But there's lots of different options. My personal preference when the weather is permitting and my hands aren't absolutely frozen, because I am built like a twig and I get cold quick, is I've been fortunate enough to get my hands on a couple of classic reels. They're click and pull. They make a hell of a lot of noise. They're loud, and they just enhance the whole experience when that fish takes the fly and just goes with it. That is what I run currently when the weather is permitting and warm, are classic reels, lots of noise, and no drag. If I had the money to buy a classic with drag, I wouldn't think twice about it, but those are also $1,000 reels. I can't afford that right now, so we make do with click and pulls. They're just as much fun. They take a little bit more finesse to utilize on the rivers, but they're a lot of fun and they're awesome. Then in the case of, you know, when I'm not feeling so creative and just want to make sure that I land any shots that I get at fish, we've also got large arbor reels with full-blown drag systems, adjustable. And the biggest part there is the large arbor reel, is the large arbor portion of the reel, which allows a quicker pickup on those fish. So when they do zap at you or they're doing that run toward you, you can pick up that line without it going slack. So there are your 2 large arbor reels with full-blown drag systems. And then going into the topic of what I would suggest for the general fisherman trying to get into swinging flies, pick yourself up a large arbor. It's gonna make your life a lot easier in terms of breaking into the scene and breaking into the game. The classics are a treat. They're a great thing to have, but you kind of want to work your way into the game first too, because it is a patience game, and it's not for everyone. You know, you got to have a lot of patience and you got to have a lot of persistence when it comes to this, because there's a lot of days spent not catching. So you got to be able to appreciate the game as a whole. And I think once you get to that point, and you'll know when you get to that point, then classics definitely are a thing of a beauty for this sport. Going from the reels, we are now moving into, from reels, we are now transitioning into our lines. The lines that I personally fish are, I have a Beulah Tonic. It's a 425 grain switch Spey line on my switch. It's a 22-foot head. The running line I particularly use is, it's an OPSD laser running line. It's like a juiced up mono, and it has very little memory. It does have some memory, it coils up a bit, but it's a stiffer line. It shoots out nice, and it allows you to throw longer casts than your normal fly line running line. I don't really veer far from that. Going up to the 13-foot Spey, I have two lines that I fish, both of which have their own purpose. They both have their own purpose. Essentially, we've got a Rio short Spey, which I believe is a 44-foot head. It is a 525 grain fly line, and it's a light tips, kind of like a springtime / early fall, when you're not really worrying about getting too far down and you want to throw big long casts that you have full body control over when you're mending. That is the line that I run. Then getting into later fall and winter, when things start to slow down and you have to throw, your heavier tips. I also have a switch chucker line for my Spey. This switch chucker that I bought in a 525, it's a mid-20s head, but it's all integrated and it casts extremely nice. It turns over all the tips that I run, which we'll go into detail here in a short second. That's my later fall heavier tips fly line. Moving on, we've got sink tips. Sink tips are a controversial topic. Sink tips can be a touchy topic because you can catch fish. You can catch a Great Lakes rainbow 6 inches under the surface. You can also catch a rainbow trout. You can also catch one 6 feet under the surface, 10 feet under the surface. It's all depends on the situation, the time of year, how you're looking to catch your fish. There's just a bunch of variables. However, the best sink tips that I can personally suggest for you guys to get started for the Great Lakes specifically, poly leaders in the 5-inch per second and 7-inch per second. I think those are your best options in the 10-foot, 8-foot, and the 5-foot. Those are the 3 lengths that I pretty much exclusively stick to. I don't veer off. I've found the tips that I fish the most commonly, and I just stick with it. And as well, on top of having some great poly tips, sliding into specifically, there's these tips called the Mo tips from Rio, I believe they make, and they are integrated 10-foot tips. You can kind of see you can see there's 2 tones there. There's black and then white. They're all 10-foot variations of different lengths of T11 and T14, which are, there's a bunch of different terms for sink rates. Some are IPS, which is inches per second, and then you've got like T11s and T14s and T8s. I don't know much about the T11s, T14s, and T8s, but what I do know is T14 sinks extremely fast. It's extremely heavy. T11 is a slower sink, less heavy, and then T8 is even less. These are built more so for Skagit lines than anything, which allows that Skagit line to turn over more gracefully. It's kind of like that taper that the Skagit head doesn't have. Those are my 2 suggestions for sink tips. You've got your Mo tips from Rio, and then you've got your Airflow poly tips. Moving on to our final 2 departments, our leader line, specifically for the final line before your fly. I don't veer far from 10 and 12 pound fluoro. Don't get fooled by the leader line. Don't go buying those little 25-yard spools of, leader line. You don't need it. This is the Daiwa fluoro leader. It's main line. I think there is 100 yards on it. it gives you a lot of line to play with, so you're never really blowing through spools. Like I'll go through like a spool of this in maybe a season, two seasons probably. I think that's respectable. Versus you get a 25-yard spool and you blow through that in like half a season. So, and you don't need it. It just costs more. The leader line stuff, it's like $30 for 25 yards or something. It's like $1 a yard. Versus you get 100 yards for maybe 25 bucks, and it's pretty much the exact same thing. Get yourself a spool of main line. You'll thank me later, and your wallet will also thank me later. On to the next one. Flies for me, I've had to go through the trial and error for a number of years figuring out what flies to consistently have in my box, alongside some great suggestions from friends that I've met over the years, and then kind of like varying off of those concepts. I've narrowed it down, and I don't think this is the final answer by any means, but I've narrowed it down to like three or four colors, let's call it. 3 or 4 colors and fly variations that you only need in your box. If you only had 3 or 4 flies, this would be them. And on any given day, if there are fish in a run that you're fishing, in theory, you should be able to move a fish on one of these 4 flies. So let's get into it. I'm gonna show you guys here what I've got. Okay, so I think I'm adding a 5th color, but basically we have got purple, black, green, more purple, black, green, white, and natural. There's a purple. This one's been a little bit abused, but there's a black, kind of like intruder style, a little bit of rabbit strip and all the goods. Green, I'm sure you guys have heard this at least once or twice if you guys have followed anything I've ever done or any of my videos. Come on, baby. Give me something to work with. Okay, green, rabbit strip. I am a keen advocate of rabbit strip in any department, whether it's white, green, black, purple, blue, yellow, pink, it doesn't matter. Rabbit strip is the biscuit. And then we have got our white. Okay. And then finally, we've got a natural. Okay. And then we've got a natural colored fly that is a great starter fly. It's super simple to tie. Also, huge game changer. Fishing for Great Lakes fish. Get yourself a net. It does not need to be a nice fancy one. It just needs to have a hoop and a net. Just needs to be a net. So you'll thank me later. It's gonna save you from broken rods, lost fish, and angry moments on the river. So yeah, there's no bad side, there's no downside to having a net. Makes it easier to manage your fish, makes it easier to take photos with your fish, because you know we all got to take photos with our fish. And yeah, and if you guys want to support locally too, there's this company called Ford's Fine Fishing Nets. They are Ontario based. They make these beautiful nets from scratch. They make them with burrow, they make them with all different wood materials. It is well worth the money. Just made my life so much easier, A, as an angler, and B, as someone that's trying to capture those moments on camera and do so ethically and respectfully with those fish. So get yourself a net. Okay, I think that's it. Any other suggestions that I can make? Stinger hooks. This is one that I had a really tough time with over the years. I have packages of all sorts of stinger hooks, but I have found specifically for our Great Lakes fish, VMC octopus, size 2, size 1, and size 3 for those smaller hooks. They're awesome hooks. They're super strong and they're very, very sharp. I've never had an issue with them. I mean, you always drop fish. It's just a part of swinging flies. You can get used to it. There's no getting away from that. What other notes do I have here? If you want to catch more fish, it doesn't matter how many nice flies and how many nice reels and how nice your fishing rod is. If you're not spending time on the river, you are not catching fish. So the equation to catching more fish is time on the water. I'll actually show you guys here on this chart here. I'm gonna draw a nice representation, a nice chart. Okay, so we've got chart here. Okay, number of fish, number of fish caught, and then on this side we are gonna have time on water. Time on water, number of fish caught, 365 days. Infinite, you've got 365 days in a year, okay? The more days you spend on the river swinging that fly equivalates to the number of fish you are going to catch. So, in theory, the more days you spend on the water, the more fish you will catch. Spend more time on the water, catch more fish. Fun facts with Dan. Alright, have a nice day. We'll catch you guys in the next video. For my dedicated viewers that have watched all the way through until this point, I give you one juicy low water hookup from this fall to keep you guys motivated for the rest of the season. Enjoy. You have a nice day now.